Apotheosis, Ascension to Godhood. Chapter 45. Su's mentor got angry. Su Lingyun is on the desk and is writing hard. Today, she wore a bright purple auspicious skirt, like the face of the fairy, showing some tiredness. Looking at the task of piled up the mountain, Su Lingyun bit his teeth. Xiao Yufeng's several instructors are very coincidental today, and all of them have gone out, and all the affairs are handed over to her to deal with. Su Lingyun is very clear, this is the ghost of the guy. I want to use his heavy work to force himself to surrender? No way! Just as Su Lingyun worked hard, Luo Zheng suddenly appeared at the door, saw the purple shadow on the desk, and then he knocked on the door. Hey! Su Lingyun looked up and saw that the person was Luo Zheng, and his face showed a strange color. Luo Zheng, what are you doing? Luo Zheng went forward and said, Su tutor, I want to get the task. Let's get the task. Su Lingyun's eyes squinted and smiled. In fact, you don't have to be so anxious. The outside disciples will soon release the medicinal herbs, which are enough for you to practice. Generally speaking, the disciples who have just stepped into Qingyunzong are rarely eager to do the task. Because the strength of the outside disciples at this time is relatively low, even if you accept the task, you can only pick up some simple tasks. The reward points are relatively small, and it is not worth the loss. It is not as good as an ant's heart to cultivate on Xiao Yufeng. Luo Zheng shook his head and said, I don't want medicinal herbs, I need points. He is useful for the body of the wonderful mystery. The general medicinal medicine Luo Jing has not been put in the eyes. Although the Qingyun sect is rich and rich, even the medicinal herbs issued by the outside disciples are better than the medicinal herbs of the outer family. Many. However, the remedy is no better than the world. As long as the smuggling of the Levi is like the Levi of the sacred land, it is not necessary. You are so anxious to do what points? Today Su Lingyun is a bit embarrassed. I just need points. Luo Jing said, is he more anxious? He needs to get 1,000,000 points. Of course, millions of points must be a very long-term thing, but at this stage he still has to get 100 points. It is true that his current power can't save Luo Wei from the Purgatory Hill, but visit the head office. Seeing that Luo Zhang was so stubborn, Su Lingyun did not say anything. When he reached out, he opened a book next to him and turned to Luo Zhang's face. Then he said with her crunch voice, this task book is the most primary task, where you can pick a task. Luo Zhengding looks into the eyes, those tasks are written by a brush, each vertical row is a task. Look at the nursing home and help the Emperor Lijia to look after the house, 3 days, 3 points. Dart, help the Fuwei escort to deliver a shipment of goods, 7 days, 7 points. Seeing these points, Luo Zheng almost did not spit bleeding. The reward points for these tasks are too few, 1 point per day, and Luo Zheng wants to earn points by these tasks, and it takes more than 3 months to complete the 100th. If you rely on these tasks to save Luo, it would take 1,000,000 days. How? What are the points? There is such a feeling at the beginning, but you are getting used to it slowly, Su Lingyun smiled. She laughs very beautifully, but Luo Zheng seems to be a bit of a profiteer. In fact, those points are not too small. 3 points can be exchanged for 6 cristobalite. For some small families, 6 cristobalite is also a huge sum, not to mention Qingyunzong in the middle to draw a certain fee according to the proportion the actual cost of people is actually bigger. There is no task with a higher score, Luo Xing asked, very tangled. There is nothing, but unfortunately you can't take it, Su Lingyun said with a hand. At this time, Luo Zheng had only points in his eyes. Where can he still take care of himself? Can't he take it? Quickly said, how have you not tried? Can you always let me see? Although Luo Zheng's request was somewhat unreasonable, Su Lingyun took out another booklet and then presented the book in front of Luo Yang. Luo Zheng directly look at the points below. The first task actually has 200 points. But when he saw the mission request, he was immediately dumbfounded. Task: hunt the shadow beast, get a full shadow of the skin. The shadow beast is a special creature on the east side of the eastern region. They live in the shadow forest. The breeding power of these shadow beasts is not strong, so the number is not many, but the strength of the individual is very terrifying. It is said that even the innate secrets enter the shadow. The forest is also hard to come back alive. Looking at the next task, there are also 200 points, but the task requirement is to hunt down a fugitive who has been famous for many years. These tasks are simply unable to take over. But when Luo Zheng continued to look down, he found that there is still a task below. There is no fixed number for the reward of this task, from 1 point to 1,000 points. Luo Zheng carefully looked down, only to understand, the requirements of this task turned out to be resistant to the tide. The tide of insects is a big problem that plagues the southern part of the empire. Every year in April and May, a large number of worms will flow from the hot south, bringing devastating disasters to the south. The worm, although there is a worm in the name, is definitely not as simple as a worm, because each worm has the same size as an adult human. In order to resist the invasion of these worms, the Empire sends a large number of troops every year to go south to destroy the worms. However, the strength of the Light Empire is not enough. Qingyunzong also sent many people to the past. So there will be such a task in this taskbar. If you kill 20 worms, you will get a point, and if you kill a worm leader, you will get a point. Luo Zheng's account is being calculated at a rapid rate. Su Lingyun said, Su Tutor, I intend to accept the task of resisting the tide. When he heard Luo Zheng's words, Su Lingyun's eyes squinted and smiled with a trace of irony. You will pick the task on this booklet. Can you accept this? Luo Zheng smiled and did not deny it. In order to earn points, he can't manage so much now. Su's mentor was still laughing at the moment, and now his face suddenly changed. Don't go. Luo Zheng's smile was stiff on his face, and he asked, why? Do you think that the knife insects are so good to kill? There are indeed some half-step innate practitioners who will accept these tasks, but the death rate is as high as 60%. Do you understand what I mean? Su Lingyun stared at Luo Zheng's eyes. With the strength of Luo Zheng to kill the knife and insects, it's just going to die. I understand. Luo Zheng nodded silently. I understand it. Su Lingyun nodded with satisfaction, ready to take the booklet away. However, Luo Zheng reached out and held the booklet. But I still have to take this task. Su Lingyun suddenly laughed and laughed, very unfairly shouting, "You understand a fart. In short, don't go." Luo Zheng said with a dignified look, "Su Tutor, I know that you are thinking about my safety, but I really need points, so I can't answer this task, whether you agree or not." Seeing Luo Zheng's eyes, Su Ling's beauty reveals the color of doubt. "What are you eager to do with the points?" Luo Zheng shook his head, but he did not want to answer. Just like a piece of wood lying here, motionless, it seems that he did not receive this task. He is not ready to go. "Don't you say that?" "You don't want to pick up this task." Su Lingyun also had some headaches. This guy picked up like a cow. "Su Tutor, I must take this person's mission," Luo Zheng repeatedly said. Su Lingyun was too lazy to be confused with Luo Zheng, and he took the pen and began to work hard. So Luo Zheng and Su Lingyun actually spent here. For a whole day, the two never said a word. Su Lingyun is busy doing his own thing, as if Luo Zheng did not exist. Luo Zheng is standing next to her like a sculpture, motionless. This strange situation continued until the evening. Su Lingyun took a look at the body, and cold looked at Luo Zheng. To be honest, after the first sight, Su Lingyun appreciated Luo Zheng. But now Su Lingyun has some feelings of disgust. It is true that the strength of Luo Zheng's performance, as well as the speed of progress, and the perseverance demonstrated against the enemy's time, are all excellent. However, now Su Lingyun seems to think that Luo Zheng wants to pick up the task as soon as possible, just to hone himself faster and prove himself faster. There is nothing wrong with this, but Su Lingyun thinks that he is a bit quick. Su Lingyun was too lazy to pay attention to Luo Zheng. She was preparing to leave. But when she walked to the door, she got a fever in her head and turned back to smash a bright token to Luo Zheng. "You want to die, no one is stopping you." Su Lingyun is very conceited about her own vision. She knows that Luo Zheng's strength is far more than just showing it. But the task of insect tide is very dangerous. In the insect tide, there are not only ordinary worms, but also more powerful creatures. Luo Zheng is very likely to be injured. When Su Lingyun is calm, she will never allow Luo Zheng to participate in this task. The problem is that because Luo Zheng's quick success and instant benefit, Su Lingyun is somewhat angry, and her mind is hot. Women are always susceptible to emotional creatures. Throwing tokens to Luo Zheng is just a piquet. Soon Su Lingyun had some regrets. Luo Zheng was a disciple who had been hard to recover after her hard work. It was not worth it to let him go to death. But when she turned her head and saw Luo Zheng's receipt of the token, she once again sent a sign of Luo Zheng, who was not ladyly, and disappeared into the courtyard. Luo Zheng is not a fool. He obviously feels the emotion of the Soviet tutor. It's just that in order to earn points, it's not so much for the sake of Luo.